notebook. So the age of exploration, the 3 learning goals. You're going to learn where the first explorers were from, what motivated explorers to head out into the unknown, and what tools were developed that made exploration possible. So those are the 3 learning goals of this lesson. So the age of exploration. So where were the first explorers from? So in your notebook, you can write down where, and you see the little pencil. Well, Portugal really led the way, kind of paved the way to exploration. And Spain. So those 2 countries you want to write down in your notebook as being the first explorers to kind of get out there, test the waters. Okay, what motivated the early explorers? So in your notebook, you want to write down motivation equals the 3 G's. Okay, so it sums up, and when you write down the 3 G's, you probably want to write them down like either in 3 columns or skip some lines in between each G because you're going to be writing details about each G in your notebook. Okay, so God, gold, and glory were the 3 reasons, 3 things that motivated explorers to get out there. So the first one, God. So under God, you want to just write down that they believed in the spread of Christianity and wanted to convert more people to their religion. So just missionaries would go with the explorers, and when they went to a place to trade, they would try to get people to convert to their religion. Okay, the gold part had to do with trade and that and kind of trade competition. So by the time of the Renaissance, commerce, trade between Europe and Asia was basically controlled by Italy. Okay, now remember, Italy was pretty much where the Renaissance started. Everything went through Italy. A lot of artwork, a lot of things going on. Italy was making a lot of money. So it pretty much was there in Italy. Italy controlled it, which means that other countries like Spain and Portugal, England had to go through Italy, which means cost of items are a lot more for them. So Italy controlled a lot of things. So if they got the items, of course, they would charge more money. So let's say they bought a spice for $25. Not that they used dollars, but just to put it in terms, they would then turn it and sell it to Portugal for maybe $35. So as you can see, this was a reason why Portugal and Spain and everything west of Italy wanted to find a way around Italy, cut out that middleman, find a different trade route, get to the places directly. So there was that competition going on. Okay, so these are now what countries had what goods that Portugal and Italy and Spain and England and France and Germany wanted. In your notebook, you're probably going to want to write down a chart like this. And I would suggest pause the after I go fill in the chart. So don't probably take notes as I talk, but when I get to the end of it, hit pause and write down then what I write down instead of writing down as I talk. So China, what did China have? They had silk and they had porcelain. Okay, so those are the goods that China had. South Asia, like India, they had the spices. Spices were good for flavoring and making the food taste better, but also remember there wasn't really any refrigeration yet. Spices preserved the food to make it last longer. India and Egypt had cotton cloth. And West Africa had gold. So again, you can pause it, make sure you have these items down, these notes down in your notebook. So these are the items the trade goods that these countries had that other people wanted. And also the final one is glory. Explorers had a thirst for glory and riches and wealth, and they wanted to be the first. They also wanted money of their own, plus the experience and adventure. So glory of just having fame and money. So again, what motivated explorers? God, spreading Christianity, gold, boosting the economy, and glory, becoming famous and rich. Those are the 3 things that motivated explorers. So the tools of travel. So in your notebook, you're going to want to write down the title, The Tools of Travel. And again, just like we did God, gold, and glory, I'm going to list 3 things, maybe make a column to help your notes stay organized. So the first one, map making, navigation, and shipbuilding. Okay, were all tools that were improved upon during the Renaissance that helped with exploration. So map making. So maps from the past weren't very accurate, or they were just incomplete. So they had to find a better, more accurate way of saying where they were going. During the Renaissance, then, map makers developed a science of making maps. They were called cartographers. And this one you're going to write down. In 1569, Heroldus Mercator discovered how to project the curved surface of a globe into a flat page. This is called Mercator projections. So you get kind of, maps can get distorted when you go from a globe to paper, and he figured out a way to make it where it was a little bit more accurate for travelers. So it looks similar to something like this. Okay, we're going to start with the flat version. So there's the globe, and you have to take the globe and then you're going to want to flatten it out, which, as you can see, it kind of distorts everything, and flatten it out. And then you add the latitude and longitude and lines like that. Okay. So that helped with travel and exploration. The next one, navigation. At first, sailors just used the astrolabe. Now, this word should be familiar with you. We learned about it with Muslim achievements. We talked about it with Greece. So the astrolabe is just, it's a tool that was borrowed from the Muslim world, and it used the stars to help find your location. So in your notebook, you can just write down astrolabe was from the Muslim world. You can write down just the underlined part in your notebook. And then the magnetic compass was invented by the Chinese. So in your notebook, you're going to write down magnetic compass invented by the Chinese. This became a common tool to use for navigation. It was an easier way to know where you are and where you need to go. So they would use both of these things to help them travel. Finally, shipbuilding. So during the Middle Ages, rowers worked to move the ships. You need a lot of men to row those big ships. But during the Renaissance, craft workers developed a ship called a caravel, and they were small, narrow vessels with 2 to 3 masts. And you'd want to write down caravel, write down this right here during the Renaissance. It would probably help if you just wrote down the whole passage. Okay, and so they pretty much the standard ship that you would see in all the movies, like Pirates of the Caribbean. They were faster, easier to maneuver. They had a triangular sail that made it easier to sail against the wind. So these developments there. Okay, so age of exploration. Did you get all the learning goals? Okay, so during this lesson, you should now know where the first explorers were from, Portugal and Spain. You should know what motivated explorers to head out into the unknown, God, gold, and glory. And you should know the tools that were developed that made exploration possible, the map making, the navigation, and the shipbuilding.